Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Shot powered by World Bicycle Relief. My name is Jess Brenker, and joining me is not only one, but two ex-pro Australian cyclists. So everybody say welcome to Pat Shaw and Wesley Salzberg. How you guys doing?
All
Yeah,
good
I'm
on
good,
this
Jasper. How
end.
are you, mate?
I'm gonna be.
Oh, don't speak at the same time, guys. Give space. I know we're three people. I'm good, guys. Thank you. So we got the chop on tonight. Wes, I know this is your brainchild. For everyone out there watching, could you explain what they're about to witness here on Swift Community Live, Wes?
Well, I wouldn't say my brainchild, but definitely a fan of this race. Ben Gove is the brainchild of this sort of event. So it's a handicap style race, which everyone gets to have a crack at winning. So that's one of the benefits of this race is no matter your ability or your level, you can have a crack at trying to take the win. So it's a bit of a cat and mouse race. I know you've chose A grade as your group tonight. I've chose D grade. Pat, did you go between C or B?
I'm with C grade Wes, and I tell you what, it's a good group. Already pumping along at between 3 and 4 watts per kilo. So they've gone out pretty hard, and it's a big group too. So Gove, he's actually leading this group. He's ride leader for this group. One difference this week, though, it looks like the groups don't have one distinctive jersey per group, so it's going to be a little bit hard for us to tell the difference when they do make the catch. I know Jesper's backing in his A graders to take it out tonight.
It's also worth mentioning that they're not on Buffalo bikes tonight. For the last 2 or 3 races, they've all been on equal bikes to Buffalo bikes, but tonight they're back on their own choice of equipment. And yes, I am in the A group. And looking at the level of the field in the A group, we've got Kim Little, Ollie Jones, Drew Gin, Jesse Riley. I mean, the list just goes on. So usually on this course, we do see the A group take the victory. But Wes, you were speaking about some changes coming to the time gaps. What was that?
Yeah, A grade have been checking with Ben. Said that A grade have been given an extra 1 minute on the London course.
On the classics course. So they're doing 5 laps of this, and there's one little incline in the middle. Pat, there's about 2 minutes to go before the A's will get underway, and that means every single category is underway. How is that little incline on Trafalgar Square going to come into play tonight?
Well, we've seen it before. That's where unfortunately, D grade, C grade really lose the bulk of their time. But the cool thing about tonight is that we're going to have a lot more insight. With Wes in the D grade group and myself in the C graders, we're going to know exactly where you are with your A graders. Maybe we can spur on our grades from behind the keyboard and try and get them to survive to the end. I know that A grade usually does factor the better on this course, particularly with that uphill turn. But I think maybe with some Innisbrook courses recently, these groups out in front have got a lot stronger. So I'll certainly be cheering my C graders all the way to the line.
How many D graders do we have out there in course tonight, Wes? How big is your group?
Only 23 out there tonight, but at 23 in strength of numbers. Tony's just saying that he's getting the troops rallied here. He's actually typing on the chat as well as racing right now. He's giving us a hello to Jesper and Pat and also myself. He's saying that extra minute will definitely help us tonight. So it looks like they're all working pretty well here together. Tony's rallying the troops. Pete Donahue is also in there from Zwift Fitness. So some familiar names in the Zwift community.
So what's it going to take, Wes, tonight for your group, the D Riders, to actually take the victory? Because they've been so close in the Innsbruck Ring course. They've been so close on this course. What's going to make the difference tonight?
Well, we definitely don't have the strength in numbers, but hopefully we have the quality in numbers. And definitely Tony Bagshaw leading these riders. We can see now I'm following my own screen of Tony, so you can see that the rest of the stream is as well now. So it's about working together here, and like doing those each time up that little bit of a climb coming into that 1K to go banner. It's about keeping it nice and smooth, but at that threshold pace. So that's where the surging of riders doesn't really help the group as a whole, but as long as they keep the pace up the whole way, then they have a chance. And obviously with Zwift Power back up, you'll be able to give us some insights into where the time gaps are at as well as the estimated arrival time too.
That is seriously cool. But the A's have just got underway 6 seconds ago. If we have a look at who's in the group tonight, it's a relatively shortened group tonight with 28 riders in there. We got Drew Gin, the Olympic rower. We got Ross Crowder, Adam Webb, Kim Little, strong guys. Keith Leonard, the group leader, who has recovered from a man flu. We've got Brendan Johnston, who took his first ever victory in the E-Crit, I believe, last week, which was brilliant. Looking further down, we got Mr. Taka, Dr. Taka, who is a bit of an Instagram celebrity, who was also there last year for the E-Crit finale. Braytank, Shaw, Jeffrey Keel, who, funny enough, raced the South African National Championships last week. And I think we should touch upon that just a second, Pat, because we didn't get the opportunity to catch up on that. Nick White, Australian National Champion, where is he tonight? Where is the jersey, Pat?
Well, unfortunately, at some point, we've got to prepare because we're trying to get Nick onto a continental team for next year. And where that'll be, we still don't know. But at the moment, he's preparing for the National Road Series race, which is on the weekend. And that's up at that one's the King Valley this week. So that's a time trial on the Friday, criterium and time trial on the same course at the Winton car racing track. And then they have 2 dirt races. So it's kind of our version of Strada Bianca, but they call it Strada Nero. So it's on black dirt rather than white clay. It was a very difficult race, but that's what he's preparing for. So both he and Liam, who both finished in the top 10 of the Zwift Nationals, they'll be doing that. But already caught up with Nick in store this week a couple of times, and he's certainly very chuffed to have taken it out. And it's another feather in the cap. I think it was a great championship, actually, and I don't think anyone can argue that it wasn't hard fought. I was in Melbourne with Wes at Zwift HQ, and it was certainly a great race to watch, not only because Nick won, but also because it was a great race.
Thanks for that update, Pat. I'm sure we'll see Nick be involved in some of the racing in the future. Wes, whereabouts is your group out on course right now?
I'm just clicking through. I actually lost them for a second there, Jesper. So I'm having some of the streaming difficulties that you usually face. So
welcome to the club.
Check back in with you.
I actually do have. I fixed that issue. We are in the A group. They're coming down embankment, and then they're going to turn right at the bottom here. And then they're going to go up the first climb of the day. What about you, Pat? Where is your group out on course?
So my group's coming through to take their first full lap finish. So we've completed 5.5 kilometres. Still a pretty strong group, but we have lost a few riders. But we started with 57 in C grade. So Ben Gove has recruited a very strong group for tonight, and he's been very vocal in that group. So they just go under the banner now. But we've lost about 5 or 6 of our riders. So down to about 50 riders left in the group as they go under the start-finish banner there right this moment.
And if you were to coach your group, Pat, since you do have a bit of stake in this pot now, what would you say to the C group? What would you say to Ben Gove to make this stick, to make this work?
Well, it looks like B grade already closing in quite quickly. So I think Ben Gove has been doing a great job because he's been telling them what's per kilo to sit at. But unfortunately, I think they're going to have to push the pace a bit harder after just 6Ks. They haven't taken a lot out of D grade. I just say keep doing what they're doing at the moment, even if it's not going to work, because they're already dropping riders.
And here we go. I can see on the screen that we got the D riders led by Tony Backshaw coming up the climb for I think this is actually the second time we're running for them now. So Backshaw sitting at 4-5 watts per kilo, which is quite impressive for the D riders. They don't have that much excess to give on these sort of hills, but that's what they really need to find tonight if they want to keep the A's, the B's, and the C's at bay. And Tony Backshaw has raced this race, 4, 5 weeks, 6 weeks in a running now. So he knows how to muster his troops, how to get them going and get them working. It is strange not to see them in that white kit they usually trug along in on the Buffalo bikes, but I'm sure it's going to work for Tony. Wes, I see next to Tony's name, it says FHAT. Could you explain what that means, please?
That's a Launceston in Tasmania. It's called Foxes, Turtles and Hounds. So the FAT group. So they're quite popular in the community down there in Launceston. And Tony has rallied a fair few members over the last 6 weeks to join as well. So some of those riders slotting into D grade, but also into C grade and B grade as well. So it's good to see that Tony's spreading the community there and getting people involved with the chop race. And I was just taking a head count up that climb. It looks like we're down to 14 in the frontier now with Tony's group.
That is a big man fall already. And with the A group now, they are 13 seconds behind the D group on the first lap of runnings. So they're going to come around now and try to catch them. And then they're a whole lap behind on the D rider. So they're going to go through them, use their power-ups. And now the real chase is on. We're looking at, I'm trying to get Zwift Power open to see if we can get the leaders working, but it's not quite playing with me tonight because on Zwift Power, there's the ETA, which you mentioned earlier, Wes, which is quite cool. We can see the estimated time of arrival, but it looks like that might not be in function tonight. Pat, have you spotted anything of interest out on course yet?
Well, I did see Tony Bagshaw. He's given some really good advice to Wes's group. He knew that A grade hadn't passed them yet to start their first lap officially. And he said, when they do catch us, stick with me, D riders. So there's a lot of value in having a really good leader. As Wes and I can relate in actually handicap racing, there's always a requirement of having a leader in your group, whether you're off scratch or whether you're off one of the front marks, off one of the handicap marks like D, C, and B grade are today, tonight. It's really good to have someone in the group that can sort of get everyone level, and that's where Tony really does elevate his group. And hopefully Ben Gove can elevate the C group, who are starting to really start pushing the watts.
I like the fact that you've literally adopted your group now, and you were like, come on, Ben, let's do it for the shots. Let's do it for Pat. I want to take the win. It's about beating Jesper and Wes's groups as well, but we'll see.
Exactly.
We're really close today. What about you, Wes? Have you found your group again out on course?
Yeah, I'm with Tony Bagshaw now, following his group. Looks like everyone's working pretty well there together, but they did drop off a few on that climb. But it looks like a couple more have come back, so we're up to a group of about 16 now. So they're all rolling through quite. They're rolling through quite strong now.
I'm trying to see if I can get some sort of time gaps up on screen or to find official ones, but it's really difficult with Zwift Power's leaders not really being in function. But it looks like the gap between the C's and the D's, according to Zwift Power, is roughly 3 minutes. And then from the C's to the B's, 3.5 actually. So they've grown out. They've actually gained time. Is that correct?
Looks like it. I'm on the climb now, and it looks like about 3 minutes 40 to those 14 riders. Maybe they got a bit of a draft off that A-grade group coming past. That wouldn't be unlike Wes to coerce a group to get a little bit of an advantage. But a C-grade is about 3 minutes 40 still, so it shows that strength in D tonight.
Wow. And then from the C's to the B's. Sorry, go ahead, Wes.
A group is a whole lap behind D grade at the moment. We're getting feed from our head office of the streaming. Johnny's giving us that information.
But that's not going to stay that way for long. I mean, if you look at the manpower in the A group, Brennan Johnson, Jeffrey Keel, Adam Webb, Kim Little, like they are just going to fire it down eventually. But for now, they've taken it very relaxed. I think it's missing a bit of Cameron Roberts, a bit of Troy Heffers, like Ian Bibby last Thursday, when he absolutely destroyed the field. But looking further at the time gaps, from C's to B's is roughly a minute. And then from the B's to the A's, according to Zwift Power, is round 2 minutes, 2 minutes 30. So time gaps are close, especially between the C's and the B's out on course. Wes, what can we expect to see now as we've headed in through, like, this is 1/4 of the race done? What's going to happen now?
Well, I think these riders here obviously have went out pretty solidly as well. Like Tony's group, they dropped a fair few that first time at the climb, so down to a group of 16 now from 23. So now, as we see the race start to unfold, it's going to be like, obviously A grade are going to have to work pretty hard, even though you're very confident getting up. They're almost 1 lap still behind, so they're certainly going to have to build a cohesion and work together. And the biggest thing is going to be if B grade catches C or A grade catches them first. So that will definitely have a factor on the rest of the race rolling out.
So we can now see on the screen, we can see the B group, which is getting a bit of love. They are on course. They're just gone over the top, and they're about to go under the Flamme Rouge. They've done 9.6 kilometers of racing. The A group has done around 8 kilometers. Pat, on that hill, we saw power-ups being popped. We saw aero power-ups. like, do you just kind of like, because usually in racing on Swift, you save that all important aero power up to the end. Can you do that in the chop? Like, is that actually something you can do and still win?
No, you still need the aero power up, and we've seen that the people that still execute the best with that aero power up in the finish, regardless of course, will prevail the winner. But that B grade group, it's not really taking that much time out of my C graders. It was down to 2 minutes last time under the banner. Looks like about 1:40 it'll be when the group goes under the banner this time for the C graders. Ben Gove keeps telling them to stay tight. There's one rider in particular that's been doing a truckload of work here tonight, and he's got under 15 in brackets. So H. McKenzie, big shout out, because he's been pushing consistently 4 watts on the front of this group.
Can we just take a second to realize that Pat Shaw said my C graders? Like, did you just adopt Ben Gove and everyone else in that group?
Until we beat you, yes.
That is funny. Wes, how is your D graders doing out on course?
My D graders are all looking pretty happy there. Tony's just about to roll up towards the front here. So, yeah, it looks like everything's in order here. They're working quite well together. Tony's giving some firm instructions to make sure they keep it nice and smooth. So, yeah, everything's looking good for the D graders.
How about the chat on the Facebook, Wes? I know you usually want to keep an eye on it and see if the engagements, the community, what they're saying. Do you have that open? Are we getting some love in the comment section below?
Yeah, we are. So Cameron Roberts has said that he couldn't get logged in. He had some troubles connecting. We've got Callum saying good morning from the UK, and then we have James Hodges saying it's with Power Live feed. If you refresh it now, you can get the leaders only working again. So, and Pete Donahue says there's no chance, Ben, go D grade.
Hey, I take that personally. Anything that goes to Ben Gove goes to me now in tonight's edition. I'll take it personally.
The funniest thing is you're sitting in a T-shirt that Ben Gove sent to you, and now you're actively rooting against Ben Gove, Pat. How do you feel about that?
No, I'm rooting with him because Ben Gove's in the C grade group.
Oh yeah.
I
thought Ben was in the D grade.
Free T-shirt. I'm always going to be cheering for your side. I mean, if you sent me a few free things, I would be a lot more lenient towards your side as well.
Oh man! Now we all know this. The key, the secrets to getting into Pat Shaw's heart. It's freebies, everybody. Now you know.
We're also getting we're getting a bit more love on the Facebook chat as well. We've got Wade Lack joining in from South Australia. And also Paul McKenzie is saying, go Hamish. So I think Hamish must be his youngest son. So Paul McKenzie is also from Tasmania and Launceston.
Okay.
So cool to see this turnout. I think Tony Bagshaw has probably had some influence. A lot of people in the cycling community in Tassie about this racing. So good to see some other people tuning in and racing on the chop.
On the chop. So today, everybody, we're racing to the 32-kilometer mark. So on the top of the screen, you're going to see that white box. The second number from the left is the total distance ridden so far. And when that says 32 kilometers, that's basically the end. We can see that the D group is halfway through the race already. So we're going to be roughly about 50 minutes of fast-paced racing in the chop tonight. And we're still out in front. So with the leaders only time gaps working on Zwift Power, we can get official time gaps now. So the gap between the D's and the C's is 2 minutes 25. From the C's to the B's is a minute in between. And from the B's to the A's is 2 minutes 30. There's a whole 5 minutes between the D's and the A's. Wes, I have a strong belief in the A's, but do you believe in the A's to catch the D's?
No, I'm going to go totally against it. Even if the numbers and odds aren't in my favour, I'm going to keep rooting for Tony Bagshaw and his crew. They're going to go. They're certainly going to go down fighting. That's for sure. They're giving it. They're all out here. Tony's sitting at a nice 2 watts per kilo here. They were ramping up about 2.5 watts per kilo. A couple there in the bunch as well. I can see 2.8. So they're trying to keep it nice and steady there and at that sort of threshold pace. So I'm rooting for them all the way to the line, and I'm pretty sure that Tony probably has an aero power up in his back pocket too.
You know, this is a battle of epic proportions because it's Olympic rower Ju Jin leading the A group versus FHHE leader Mr. Tony Backshaw. Who's going to take the chop tonight? It's going to be one or the other, no matter what. David versus Goliath. So, Wes, I asked Pat earlier how to teach. Like, what would you say if you could coach the C group right now? What would you say to Tony Backshaw and the D riders? Like, how do they stay away?
Well, they just have to keep working together as they are. They're all sitting in that sort of nearly 2.3 to 2.5 watts per kilo at the moment. So they're all already at their limit. All they can do is make sure they keep it nice and smooth, especially on that climb, because they don't want to distance some of the riders that may be able to help out after you get over that climb. So it's about nurturing who you have left in the group. The strongest, you're only as strongest as your weakest rider, as my dad would always tell me in the racing. So we're going with that method. They look like they're keeping it nice and smooth, and they're working at that threshold pace.
Pat, do you think that Simon Clark's victory in the Welter last night had an impact on this race? Do you think more people said, I want to race too, now seeing Clarkie win a stage?
I'd like to think so. I mean, he's one of those guys. Wes and I know him incredibly well. He actually was a pivotal rider to get Wes to his silver medal in the under-23 World Championship. So a bit of a personal level, we were probably overwhelmed this morning when we saw that he had got up. But it'd be great to see the Aussies get a bit excited about Simon taking the win. But there's one part of his win last night that you certainly can't learn on Zwift, and that was his track experience in that final kilometres in following the attacks. Now, how that transpires tonight is going to be interesting. You asked Wes whether he believes in his D graders. I think B grade might be the favourites right now.
Really? How come?
Well, they look like they're working really well, and you were talking about the power-ups being popped. I think they're eager to catch my C grade group as quickly as they can. And with A grade still, I can just see B grade actually go down the back straight there. So they're only about a kilometre behind, maybe less, behind my C graders. And with A grade still 2.5 minutes behind, and as you said, no Cam Roberts tonight, that makes a big difference because he is a big driving force. But Hamish McKenzie, as Wes mentioned, he's been the driving force in this C grade group. Now he needs the others to try and do some hard work.
You're not the only one saying this, because Kim Little is also panicking a tiny bit in the A group. He says the ETA on Zwift Power have us losing. So this is the A group losing by seconds to the B group. And I think this is due to the fact that we're missing Zach Johnson, we're missing Cameron Roberts, we're missing Troy Hereford, we're missing the guys to kind of instigate the pace. Like, we've got strong riders in here, but so far it's really only Kim Little on the front trying to rally the troops, try to get everyone to pop their power-ups. I think everyone is a bit traumatized from last week's Ian Bibby attack, like for 2 kilometers out, and I think everyone's kind of like nervous and a bit jumpy, and they don't want the same thing to happen this week, because I heard from many that attack was just like supernatural. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens now. How far out on the course are the D riders, Wes?
The D riders have done 18.4k now. I'm just honed in on Tony Bagshaw here. So yeah, 18.5 just ticked over, and Tony's sitting around that 2 to 2.3 watts per kilo. As we can see on the live stream now, they're averaging about that 2.5 now. So they picked up a little bit. They were down to 2.2 just before, and it's picked up to 2.5. So looks like they're starting to hold that momentum and hold that speed. And as Tony was instructing and agreed with you're only as strong as the weakest rider comment that I made earlier. Also, just across on the Facebook chat, we've got Lee Blackman saying he's battling a head cold tonight, but tuned in to see the Ds win the race. So thanks for tuning in, Lee, and hopefully we can deliver that for you.
It is interesting because the D riders are literally on the limit. Seeing their average at 2.5, they cannot go faster. Like, there's a reason why they're in the D category. Wes, Pat, could you explain how riders are put into categories? Like, how would you determine whether you're an A grader, B grader, or a C grader?
So the easiest way is to do an FTP test. So that's 20 minutes. Work out what your average watts per kilo is, which you'll be able to work out what's the average for that 20 minutes, divide it by your total body weight, and that will give you a reading. of what you can average for that 20 minutes. So if it's a certain amount, you'll feed into a certain category. So I think it's under 2.4 watts per kilo is D grade, 2.5 up to 3 is C grade, I think. And then as you go higher, and then A grade is 4.5 watts and above. And that picture group, in fact, tonight, my dad had his first race on Zwift, so that was in D grade tonight. And who knows, in the coming weeks, he might find himself in the chop and having a crack.
He better get involved in this racing, because these are the biggest numbers I've ever seen in Zwift races. Like, to see the Bs, the Cs, and the Ds have that level of participation, that just explains why this race is quickly becoming one of the premier events on Watopia in London, on Innsbruck. So it's really fun to watch. In the A group, though, we're seeing people starting to panic. Like Adam Webb, Kim Little, they popped their aero power-ups, went up to 7 watts per kilo, and they split the front group. They literally went so fast that the A group split in half. So they're getting to a point now where they're just all panicking and getting a bit nervous. Since you're seeing Kim saying, use the power-ups now. There's no point in saving it. We will not catch him. We won't even be within a chance of winning if we don't work better together. Usually the A groups is really good at working together, but it doesn't seem to be the case tonight. Wes, what could be causing this? How come the A's aren't really working together? Wes?
Well, I can answer. I reckon it's because the B graders are actually... I mean, the B grades are actually working really well, and so are the C graders. Just, I can't see the D grades at the moment, but it's about 500 meters gap between my C graders and nobody's B graders, because there's only 3 of us here. We can call the B grades Johnny's group. So Johnny's B graders are within about 500 meters of my C graders, and we're getting closer and closer to Wes's D grades, but no sign of Jesper's A graders though. A big. You were asking about Nick White, because he did win the Aussie Zwift Nationals on the weekend. He will partake in next week's chop on Thursday night. I'll make certain of that. He is going to be doing the Zwift Academy workouts in the mornings, and he will try and participate in both the eCrit Tuesday night and the chop on Thursday night. And hopefully by then, I haven't signed in and had a look at his account, but hopefully he'll have that beautiful jersey to put on show.
Ooh. What do you mean, the cycling hub kit that was just put in the game? Just kidding. If you guys don't know who Johnny is, in the Johnny's B group, the man producing all this, making this possible, is Johnny Noblet. So if the B group wins tonight, I guess you can all go cheer on him. Looking at the time gaps now, it's really, really, really close. And then again, it's not close at all. That's how exciting the chop is, because between every single group is now 1 minute. But between the Ds and the As is 3 minutes, and we only have about 12 kilometers left of racing. And to catch 3 kilometers in 12 minutes, Pat, I mean, can they do it?
Well, I'm actually calling it possible. I'm talking it's going to take a lot of commitment. But this C-grade group, they're all popping power-ups left, right, and center. Maybe there's some belief in this group, as he's now giving a message through Ben Gove. He's saying, group up, C, we're going good, we're going good. B grade's just hit the base of the hill on the course. C grade cresting the top. D grade just turning the top bend. So these 3 groups coming together. But Jesper, where's your A group?
They're led on by Adam Webb right now, and he's sitting at 6 watts per kilo now on the front, just hammering it. They're all so nervous. It's quite fun to see an A group like this in shambles, in panic mode, because they're usually very composed. They know what they can do. You can see over on Zwift Power that Kim Little has averaged 5 watts per kilo for the first 24 minutes. Some guys here are just sitting in. They're not really pulling their weight. They're just sitting in, getting a free ride, while other people like Adam Webb and Kim Little, the Brits, are showing the Australians how it's done. How do you feel about that, Pat? Like sandbaggers?
Yes, no, we're never a fan of that, particularly when you're riding in these bunch races. You don't want people sitting on and not pulling their turns, although we have all been that person at some point in our handicap careers, because sometimes it's all about survival, and that's the hard thing to think about off the A graders. They are pushing that 5 watts per kilo, and just if you don't feel good out of the blocks in tonight's race, you may after 5K already be toast. And that's a classic announcement on Zwift. You can say, I'm toast. And, well, some of them will be toasted right now, and that's why they can't pull the turn. But certainly Kim Little will be saying, Carl, boys, right on.
Pat, sorry, Wes, where's WP Taz tonight?
WP Taz are having a bit of a recoup after the Nationals. Nadsy has been down with a bit of a cold, a bit of a chest infection, so he's coming back. So he wasn't able to take part again, but hopefully he can rally the troops and get the Wolfpack nice and healthy again. We just saw Tony Bagshaw come through with Aero Power Up coming through that finish line then on that occasion. So he's driving the pace up, and it looks like everyone's following in tow.
On the broadcast right now, we see A. Jeans from Wales, and he had a really fun comment in the chat prior to the race when warming up. He said, let's just all pray that this is Ian Bibby's rest day, then maybe we can stay away, guys. And it looks like his prayers have been answered, and he's in the B group, 40 seconds to the A's, but if they can keep that gap with 11 kilometers left of racing, 2 laps left of the Classics course, it's going to be tight, but the B group with 44 riders tonight, averaging around 4 watts per kilo, just at the threshold of what they're allowed to do, they're really doing well. In the A group now, we're seeing riders being spat. We're seeing Gavin Dempster, who is a really strong rider out of Scotland racing for Draft. They've gone so fast. They've actually dropped riders from the group. That's just incredible to see what's happening up there right now. So, guys, it's time to make a prediction from your group. You can only pick from your group. So, Wes, you can pick from the Ds. Pat, you can pick from the Cs. Who do you think is going to win? Pat, you can go first.
I'll lock in. If it was our group to win, I would put Hamish McKenzie, and only because I think he's done a truckload of work tonight. And the biggest thing about handicap racing is you should let the best rider that's contributed to your group take the win. So I'll be backing in Hamish McKenzie, the under 15 from Tasmania.
Wes.
I'm going to have to go with Pete Donahue from Zwift Fitness. So Pete, as well, the instructions just come through from Tony Bagshaw in the group to use your Aero power-ups and any power-ups you have right now to help the group. So it looks like the riders are following that to a T, so that no one's going to have an advantage at the end there. They're all just laying on the lines to make sure they don't get caught here. So Tony's gives those instructions, and everyone's followed suit with that. So, but I'm going to go for Pete Donahue from Zwift Fitness.
And for my group, I'll have to go with Kim Little. I think Ben Gove said if there was a points classification for this, Kim Little would currently be leading it. And he's been averaging 5 watts per kilo so far. If you go with Pat's train of thought, they should let him win. But, I mean, Aaron Dunn is in this race, and he never gives out gifts, except for that one day we were on the volcano. So we'll see what's going to happen. While we were making those predictions, Jeffrey Keel was like, Jesper, ... I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean, Jeff, but write faster, man. You got to catch the B's, the C's, and the D's. It's good racing tonight, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to be viewing from the different groups. It gives you a different perspective on the race, that's for sure. And obviously trying something new here tonight with 3 of us on. But this C-grade group has now just started to really believe, I think, Jesper, because they started to all work together. B-grade was very close, within 400 metres. I don't think they've closed much further than that at the moment. So maybe B-grade starting to fatigue after that really quick start.
Yeah, with 2 laps to go, with a lap and a half, actually, the gaps are coming down. So the D group only has 47 seconds now, according to Swift Power. The B group is about 30 seconds down on the Cs. And then we've got the A's also 30 seconds down on the Bs. I think it might come down to the fact that when B and A's eventually do couple up, the fact the blob will be so big, the draft will be so big that they'll go a bit faster in the game, and they might come all back together. But Wes, what do you think is going to happen?
I think Pete Donahue is going to get a shake and bake effect out of this D grade group, and if they do get caught, he's going to go off the front.
We've got Kim Little on the front displaying that Union Jack on the back of his jersey as he is the UK national champion of Zwift. He's leading the group on. He's really been doing a lot of work on the front. You can see Brendan Johnston tonight has been averaging 5.2 watts per kilo just to sit in, just to be in the group tonight. think there are going to be some tired legs at the end of this, Pat.
There's going to be tired legs. There always is tired legs. And we've seen some pretty big moves come in the final laps on these courses, but particularly Innisbrook. But the C grade group now going up the climb the second last time and closing in on D grades about 35, 40 seconds to the front of D grade. So Tony Bagshaw telling the group to his D grade group to really group up now, because this is where it can all fall apart. If you don't get together quickly on the flat over the top, you can lose more time on that section than you actually lose on the uphill. So pushing really high now, 5 watts per kilo in this C group. There are feather power-ups being dropped left, right, and center. So probably some belief here. They know 7 Ks to go. This is a chance.
That seems to be the difference maker tonight, just the cohesion, the collaboration within the group. Like, we're seeing a bit of a mutiny happening in the A group now as the messages come in on screen. Kim Little is so not happy with anyone right now because he's like, come on, guys, you must have power-ups. You must have featherweights, arrows, drafting, whatever, puppet. We need to catch them. And it looks like it's the collaboration in the lower categories that could take the win tonight, Wes.
It does look like that. And Kim Little rocking his national champs jersey there as well. So cool to see that in amongst it there. And hopefully, like you said, Pat, will have Nick White rocking that next week for the chop and also the E-Crit. But yeah, it's looking in the favour of A grade probably not being able to get up to this win. So it's going to come from either the C grade or D grade group there. So it's starting to get pretty interesting now.
We're about to enter the last lap of racing, Pat.
Come on, let's go.
Oh, it's going to be close, guys. This is going to be...
And the C-graders look like they're going to be close.
Oh, here we go. We've lost. We've got caught here. Hopefully someone's fresh for their legs there when this group gets caught. They can stick him here with the C grade.
Well, I just want to say, where's Nick White? We rolled you on the weekend in the Zwift Nationals. I'm hoping C grade can get the job done tonight.
Pat's ego has never been bigger, guys. Get ready. If his group wins tonight, I mean, that's the last you've heard of Pat. We're never allowing him back on.
Oh, this is all coming together now. So D grade and C grade, it's about 15 or about 20 seconds between the groups. But where is this B grade? I did pick them earlier, and they are close enough. They're within striking distance. Jesper, you'll have a better idea than me, but it continues to be Hamish McKenzie in my group. The under 15 from Tasmania. He's driving this group. He wants to force the pace even faster again as they go on to the finishing straight. 1 lap to go. We better get the bell out for Wes's D graders. Tell me when they go across the line, Wes.
100 metres to go, Pat. I think you can start winning it. There we go.
So there we go for the D graders. I'll give it again for my C graders.
Tony Bagshaw, third place. Third place rolling through. That was much better than the keys and the other things we've had. So that was a good ding-dong battle.
Jesper was actually ropeable the first week. I had a legitimate bell. He felt like I'd sort of elevated the cast a little bit. So then now we sort of had to live up to expectation.
Yeah, I felt like you did us an injustice because we could never live up to that hype levels again the first time we actually had a bell within the broadcast. I mean, from that point, there's no looking back. There's only looking forward. But here we go, everybody. Last 4 kilometers, 4.5 kilometers of racing into nice chop. I think this is going to be the closest chop race we've ever seen because it's literally going to come down to the pole mall sprint. Because now we're on the last lap of racing. Everyone knows they've made it. Now they're going to start working together and they're going to start panicking even more. And that's not only just the A's. The B's are going to be the same because the B's have 30 seconds on the A's and it's coming down 28, 27. It's going to be close, but not only do they have that gap, there's now only a minute between the A's and the D's out on course. So in 1 lap of racing, can the A's catch the D's? This is going to be tense, everybody. Oh, it's going to be good.
Kim Little looks like he's popping that aero power up now.
Yeah, he is. Kim tonight has just been an MVP, the most valuable player out on course for the A's. If it wasn't for him, they wouldn't even be within a chance of bringing it all back together. He's sacrificing his own chances for the whole group to win. And Pat, I would say that's pretty much what the job is about. So regardless of Kim winning or not, I think he's the indirect winner tonight.
No, you're totally right. It is what it's all about. But you and I have actually spoken about Kim Little on several occasions. He tends to do that. He's really happy to sacrifice for the group. As I just saw the B graders, they're probably about 25 seconds behind the C. The C grade is 17 seconds behind the D. And it looks like A grade only 15 seconds behind the B graders. So almost everyone in the same straight with about 3.5 kilometers to go.
Oh my God, Wes! What I think this is going to come down to the final sprint on the mall. The D guys are going to have just 300-meter gap, and then you're going to see power-ups from every single A rider as they fly by like this. Wes, this is going to be tense.
This is definitely going to be tense. I can see that the D grade is still pushing to their absolute limits here. They're all up. Some of them in almost the 3 watts per kilo now that are coming through for the front taking turns. So. It doesn't look like anyone's saving themselves. It's all in or nothing right now. So all working really well together. And what's it say? Tony's saying, just go mow your D. I don't know what that's quite. I think he's trying to type while he's at max heart rate. So not quite making sense there, but I'm sure they get the message that go, go, go. Now the time is to go.
13 seconds between the A's and the B's. They're going to catch them in just a second, and that could be the saving grace for the A riders when they bridge up, because the law of numbers on Zwift, the bigger the group, the faster you go. That's just how the algorithm works, and especially when they hit the next time up Trafalgar Square, that's when we're going to see the difference in power between the A's and the rest. They should have a bit more in the tank. Despite averaging over 5 watts per kilo, the A riders have really done it well tonight. I think they've done me quite good tonight, Pat, but not as good as your guys' groups. I got to give it to you guys. Like the D's and the C's, they have a heart tonight. They have the engine, and I kind of want to see them win. Is that wrong, guys?
Well, D and C come together right as we speak, but you spoke about the climb up to Trafalgar, and that is where this is going to be won tonight. I think the strongest riders out of C and D need to push forward and forget about staying together as a group, because that big A-B group, when they get together, they're going to fly up this climb. Mm-hmm. So as they take the left-hand turn now to go up to Trafalgar Square, this is where the race can be won. And again, it's my man on the front, Mackenzie's pushing the pace again in this C grade. I love it because he's only an under 15, so it'd be great to see a young rider take out the chop, because the future of Zwift, we've spoken about it before. Can we see a champion born, unearthed on Zwift?
The next Peter Sagan right here on Zwift. Could it be Mackenzie? But you are completely correct. No more working together. You got to go off the front and do your own chances. If you're feeling good, now is the time to inject the pace, because as we speak, the B's and the A's are now gone together, and another air power-up is being popped, and more pace is being injected. Once again, Kim Little is at the front with 6-8 watts per kilo at the bottom of Trafalgar Square, and they can see the C's and the D groups. They can see them at the top of Trafalgar Square. It looks like it's going to come all back together just before the final sprint. It's going to be tense, Wes. It's going to be really close.
It is. We've got an under 17 Wolfpack rider, so it's D Stretton up the front here now, leading the way. So a lot of these riders here now will be at the absolute limit, and it looks like that they're all sort of spread out here as well. There's a fair few riders that are leaving gaps, so it is an absolute scramble out there right now.
Oh, I can see it. We can see the front group. We can see Pat's group from the C group. They're so close to the A riders, Pat. This is going to be... I can't contain myself, Pat.
I think they can get there. They're working brilliantly in this front group. As we've said, Anderton and then also Mackenzie, they're the 2 young guys from the Wolfpack, one in the under 17s, the other under 15. They're about to take the hairpin turn. They'll come back around about 1,800 meters to go. This is where it can be one and done. They've done everything right. They look to their left. They see that broken group. I think they've got it. A and B are together, though, right there. It's about 400, 300 meters, the gap. Come on, C graders.
A group is about to make the hairpin as well. They can see them. It's 5 seconds, 6 seconds, Wes.
6 seconds now. It looks like that Stretton is on the wheel here of a Korean rider here. So That is Teo. I'll try and I can't even pronounce that, but it looks like that he's leading us in here, and the other riders are started 7.8 watts per kilo. Now Stretton is launching to over nearly 10 watts per kilo here, leading in before that final sprint here. So he's sort of gapping it, a little bit of gap off the front here now.
Yes.
It's really going to wind up coming through here now. Stretton's still on the front. The other riders are on the wheels in here now. So it looks like the Korean riders started his sprint long range here. Mackenzie's coming now. I don't know whether Wolfpack Taz is going to be able to get up here. Actually, it looks like he's gone too early. Now it looks like Stretton's gone up for the gun. Now Hamish has come through. Aero Power Up being dropped. Kay Smith has come from the clouds, and looks like Kay Smith is going to hold him. No, he's not. Mackenzie over the top, and now Kay Smith is going to be head-to-head, I think, and Kay Smith looks like he's going to take it, and then Mackenzie, and then Gibson after that. Oh, no, not at the line yet, and a last-minute surge there from, who was that, Di Martina. Oh, what a close finish. We're going to have to go back to a replay if we can, or work out what was going on there.
Further back, guys, we've got the A's just finishing now, and it's Brendan Johnston who's going to take the sprint from the A's in front of Kim Lilla, who looks like she's given up all hope and is just going to cross over the line. But it's going to be some B riders up amongst that. I actually think the B group actually beat the majority of the A group tonight. So not only did the C's win, but the B group got like 5th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th as well. Like, that is impressive, everybody. Pat Shaw, do your best Al Pacino and just be like, Tell your C riders what you think.
Well, I got to say, where they won the race tonight was what we said. They need to go for it up to Trafalgar Square, and Stretton, the under-17 rider, he was first to launch. But very impressive ride by both D grade and C grade tonight. Unfortunately, but you missed out by just that much.
It's a game of inches. That was tight. That was incredible. Great racing from the C riders. That sprint in the end, did not know they had it in them. Great racing. Also to the D riders, to your guys as West. What do you want to say to Tony Backshaw and Bunch?
Yeah, they went down fighting, that's for sure. Great job by Tony and crew. They only got caught up that final climb there. So C grade come over the top of them, but they definitely worked well as a group. They didn't quite have the numbers there for the strength, but they certainly put a good showing in for the numbers that they did have there. So a big ride on to all of the D graders. Well done, and we can try again next week.
If you enjoyed this broadcast, if you enjoyed this racing, you can get amongst the action next week, both on Tuesday and Thursdays with the E-Crit and the Chop Race. So get involved with that. Get signed up on the Zwift Companion app or in the game itself. You'll be broadcasted here with me, Pat, and Wes. So without further ado, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week.
Right on.